So today we shall cover the route of drug administration. See, the routes of drug administration, it is the path or way in which a drug is introduced into the animal body to produce a biological effect. See, we need a drug to be effective in body. See, how to introduce the drug into the body. So there are certain means by which a drug can be introduced into the body. So invariably, so you cannot give drug in any route of your choice. See, there are certain limitations and there are certain indications, so in which route a drug has to be introduced into the body. So we shall see the different routes of drug administration. So before going to that, so we shall see the factors which affects the route of drug administration. See, what are the different factors? So the first factor is the physicochemical properties of drug. See, what do you mean by factors affecting route of drug administration? See, there are several factors which will tell you, so in what route you have to administer a particular drug. So what are those factors? See, the first factor is the physicochemical properties of the drug. So the physical property. See, suppose a drug is in solid, liquid or gaseous form. So what is the route of drug administration? See, for a solid form of a drug. See, for a solid form of a drug, see for example in a tablet form. See how we are going to introduce the tablet form. So you cannot inject a tablet through an intravenous route. So the obvious route will be through oral route. So similarly liquid, see in the syrup form or in solution form, you can give it through oral route, or if it is in solution form, you can give it through intravenous route, or if the dosage form is in suspension form, it is not easily dissolved in the water, so you cannot give it through intravenous route. It might lead to adverse effect or emboli formation. So you have to give it through intramuscular route or subcutaneous route. And gaseous form, see gaseous form you cannot give it through oral or through intramuscular or intravenous route. So the obvious route will be through inhalation. So through pulmonary route you have to give the gaseous dosage form. Then the solubility of a drug. See, solubility wise, the drug, it may be polar in nature or non-polar in nature. Polar, that means the drug is water soluble. Non-polar drug means lipid soluble drug. See, for example, you are giving a tablet through oral route. So from oral route it will enter into the stomach or into the intestine. So in the intestine, see if it is a stomach or the intestine, so it has to cross the membrane in the stomach mucosa, or it has to cross the intestinal mucosa, right? So it has to transport across the cell membrane. So here you know the cell membrane is made up of the phospholipid or lipoprotein, so which is lipid soluble in nature. So if a drug is lipid soluble, easily it will transport across this stomach mucosa or intestinal mucosa. Suppose a drug is highly polar, highly water soluble, it fails to cross the stomach mucosa or intestinal mucosa, so the purpose will not be served. So highly polar drugs, you cannot give it through oral route, it will not get absorbed and it will not produce the intended effect. So highly polar drug, it is preferred through the different route, the parenteral route like intravenous or intramuscular. Whereas a lipid soluble drug, you can give it through oral route, you can give it through parenteral route also. See for example heparin. See, heparin is highly water soluble, highly polar drug, so it is not advised through oral route. Then similarly the pH, the acidic or basic pH of the absorption medium. See, this we will see in detail when we are studying about the transport of drug. There we will understand how the pH will affect the absorption of a drug. Then the stability of a drug. If a drug is acid labile, see for example insulin. See, insulin, if you give it through oral route, so it will be destroyed by the presence of acid in the stomach, so you cannot give it through the oral route. So the obvious route of administration of insulin will be the parenteral route. So likewise the enzyme labile, see for example the insulin, so if you give it through oral route, or any peptide hormone, if you give it through oral route, it will be cleaved by the proteolytic enzyme present in the intestine or in the stomach. So it will cleave the peptide and protein. So the purpose will not be served. You cannot give it through the oral route. So the obvious route of administration for such drugs will be parenteral route. So that's how physicochemical properties affects the route of drug administration. The second factor, the formulation of drug. So what is the formulation of drug? See, for example, solution. See, if it is easily dissolved in the water, you can give it through oral route, you can give it through parenteral route, even you can give it through intravenous route. If the same dosage form of a drug is in suspension, it is not completely dissolved in water. So partly dissolved in water. If it is in suspension form, you cannot give it through intravenous route. It might cause adverse effect. It might lead to emboli formation. Emulsion, oil in water, water in oil, definitely not through the intravenous route. You have to prefer the other route except the intravenous route. Similarly, oil formulations. So you cannot give it through intravenous route. See, for example, procaine penicillin, it is in emulsion form. You definitely cannot give procaine penicillin through intravenous route. So the obvious route of administration will be through the deep intramuscular route. Then the nature of drugs. See, for example, the peptide and acid labile drug. I told you the insulin and penicillin G. See, the insulin and penicillin G, they are acid labile. If you give this penicillin G through oral route, it will be easily destroyed by the presence of acid in the stomach. Or insulin, if you give it through oral route, it will be destroyed by the proteolytic enzyme present in the stomach or in the intestine. So the nature of drug also affects the route of drug administration. Then the onset of action. See, if patient is suffering from some emergency condition, so in that emergency condition, you cannot give a tablet through oral route. You cannot give because the onset of action will be late. So if you want an emergency treatment, so you have to go for the intravenous route of administration of a drug. So depending upon the onset of action, depending upon the severity of the condition, whether the treatment requires an emergency intervention or a late intervention, so depending upon the choice of route of administration has to be decided. And the type of response required. See, some drugs will produce a different action if you give it through different route of administration. See, for example, the classical example being magnesium sulfate. See, this magnesium sulfate, it is a purgative. That means it increases the gastrointestinal motility if you give it through oral route. It is a classical purgative or laxative. So if you give it through oral route, it will increase the GIT motility. For constipation, we give magnesium sulfate in case of ruminants. If the same magnesium sulfate, if it is given through intravenous route, it is used as a euthanizing drug. See, magnesium sulfate dissolved in enough water. So if you give it through intravenous route, it will cause death of the animal. It will lead to arrhythmia. So it will lead to cardiac arrhythmia. It will lead to death of the animal, magnesium sulfate. The same thing holds good for lidocaine. See, lidocaine, if you use it through local route, if you use it in the local way, so it will lead to local anesthesia. If you inject it in the intradermal route or only locally, it will lead to local anesthesia. The same lidocaine, if you give it through intravenous route, it is having antiarrhythmic action. So it's the type of response required. So depending upon the type of response we require, so depending upon that, the drugs will be given through the different routes of drug administration. And the next factor, the site of action. So where we need this action. See, for example, if there is conjunctivitis, if there is any eye infection, so we need treatment at that localized part. So there, if you give an injection through intravenous route, so that doesn't serve the purpose. So obviously it will serve, whereas it needs only an eye drop. So localized effect is needed. So localized intervention is needed. So an eye drop will be suffice. So ear infection, ear drops can be suffice. Or a sprain or a pain in a localized area. So painkiller spray can be given. Then electuary or poultice. Electuary you can give it. You just smear it on the mucous membrane. You smear it on the mucous membrane in the mouth. So you just smear it there. Or you smear it on the tongue. A localized effect will be seen. A demulcent effect will be seen out of electuary. A poultice. Poultice, whenever there is sprain in the leg, you just tighten this poultice and the sprain will be gone. What is electuary? What is poultice will be assignment question. What do you mean by electuary? Where we use this electuary? Examples of electuary. What are poultice? What is its indication? Those are assignment questions for you. So depending upon the site of action, we use different route of administration. Then biotransformation, the next factor. See, there are certain drugs which are having shorter half-life. See, what do you mean by half-life? It is the time taken by a drug to reduce the concentration to the half. See, for example, if you are using 100 milligram of a drug, so what is the time taken by the drug to reduce itself into 50 milligram in the body? Suppose it has taken 2 hours to convert the 100 mg to the 50 mg. So this 2 hour, what the body will take, this 2 hour will be the half-life of that drug. See, there are certain drug which will be having very shorter half-life. See, for example, dobutamine and dopamine, it is having half-life of 2 minutes. So such will be the half-life of these drugs. Suppose if you give these drugs through subcutaneous route or through oral route, see, by the time it reaches the stomach or intestine, or by the time it reaches the vein, it will be metabolized, it will be degraded. So what we will do for administration of dopamine and dobutamine, we will give this dopamine and dobutamine through intravenous infusion. So slowly we will give drop by drop this dopamine and dobutamine. You see the effect of dopamine and dobutamine. After its effect, you release another drop. So IV infusion, slowly you are giving dopamine and dobutamine through intravenous infusion route. Only through intravenous infusion you give such drugs which are having very shorter half-life. Then the condition of the patient. If a patient is conscious, yes, you can give it through oral route. If the patient is unconscious, you cannot give the drug through oral route. It might lead to aspiratory pneumonia. It might go to the lungs. Or cooperative animals. See, cooperative. If animal cooperates, you can give it through any route. If the animal is uncooperative, very difficult to give it through the oral route, and also the intravenous administration will also become difficult if the animal is uncooperative. See, for example, zoo animals. See, for a zoo animal, very difficult to give it through oral route unless if you mix the drug with any feed or water, so it's very difficult to give it through the oral route. Then the number of animals. See, the number of animal also affects the route of drug administration. Suppose you are vaccinating a larger number of animals. See, what will happen in our case in veterinary practice. See, in human beings, what will happen if the number of patients are more, if the number of subjects are more. So in vaccination, what we will do? So polio drops will go through oral route. So very easy, convenient, doesn't require any skill. So easily you can, conveniently you can administer for a huge number of subjects. Whereas in animals, very difficult to give it through oral route. So uncooperative. So in dogs and cat, uncooperative. So generally we'll go for intramuscular route. So intramuscular route or subcutaneous, cooperative in case of animals. So the same thing, if you try it through oral route or intravenous route, you cannot give vaccination to such a large number of animals through intravenous route or through oral route. So number of animal also affect. So varies in case of human beings and the animals. Then cost of administration or expertise. See, depending upon the cost of administration. See, suppose anesthesia. See, anesthesia, you cannot give it through oral route. So the onset of action will be very late. And the cost of administration. Suppose you are giving it through inhalation route. So inhalation route, expertise is needed. So for insertion of endotracheal tube, and for the operation of the anesthetic equipment, you need expertise, you need skill, and the cost of administration will be higher if you want to give anesthesia through inhalation route. So generally we go through the intravenous route or intramuscular route to give the anesthesia in case of animals. So these are certain factors which affects the route of drug administration. What are those factors? Physicochemical property of a drug, formulation of drugs, nature of drug, onset of action, type of response that is required, then the site of action, biotransformation, condition of the patient, number of animals you are giving the drug, and cost of administration or the expertise required. So these are certain factors which affects the route of drug administration. Now we shall see what are the different routes of the drug administration. See, coming to the routes of drug administration, you get the oral or the enteral route of drug administration. That will be the first route of drug administration. Then the second route of drug administration is parenteral route. So the name itself suggests parenteral, behind the enteral. So anything behind enteral comes under parenteral route. Then inhalation route or pulmonary route. Then the topical route. The four common routes of administration are the oral or enteral, parenteral, inhalation or the topical route. See, under parenteral, so again classify into different routes of drug administration. You go through this different routes of drug administration. The important one being intramuscular, intravenous, subcutaneous, intraperitoneal, very commonly administered route. Then inhalation. Then topical. So in topical also classified into topical application on the skin and also to the mucous membrane. So again to the mucous membrane classified into different routes: sublingual or buccal, rectal, intraocular, intranasal, intramammary, intrauterine and intravaginal route. We will go in detail to these different routes of drug administration. So in this video, in this present video, we will restrict ourselves into the study on the oral route and the intravenous route. The rest route of drug administration we will take up in the next video. So due to the constraint in the length of video, so I am going to we are going to study it in the next video. So the first route of drug administration is the oral route of drug administration, also called as enteral route. So commonly we call it as PO. You give a tablet PO. So what do you mean by PO? In Latin it is called as per os. So through orally you are giving a drug. So generally by the ingestion, and it is the oldest way of drug administration, easiest way and a common route of drug administration. So how you are going to give a drug through oral route? In an animal, you drench it. See, in Kannadದಲ್ಲಿ ಗೊಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. So drench it. Or you mix a drug with the feed or water. So for a ruminant, what we will do? We mix a drug with the banana. So you mix a drug with banana, or in village side, so in Kannada, we mix it with mudde. Mudde jote mix ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು we'll give the feed. Then the stomach tube. Use a stomach tube or nasogastric tube. You give the drug, preferably the liquid we give it through stomach tube or the nasogastric tube. So insert it, so you use the medications. Then there are ways of giving drug through oral route. So before meals, some drugs are advised. After meals, so before meals, see for example omeprazole to treat gastritis. Omeprazole before food it is administered. Why before food? So before food, if you give omeprazole, it will decrease the acid secretion for a brief period of time. So that's the reason why we generally physician advise giving omeprazole before meals. Then after meals, see for example NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. See for example Disprin, aspirin. See why it is preferred to give after meals through oral route? It leads to GIT irritation. So if you give it before meals in an empty stomach, it will lead to the GIT irritation. To reduce the GIT irritation, so generally it is given after meals. So similarly, a drug given through oral route, so it is intended for local effect or systemic effect. See, drug given through oral route, so you can expect both local effect of the drug, you can expect systemic effect of the drug. So dash is an example of a drug given through oral route intended for localized effect. The example is the antacid. See, antacid, what is the mode of action of antacid? See, antacid, it's going to neutralize the gastric acid produced in the stomach. So how it is going to neutralize? It will directly counteract the acid that is produced in the stomach. See, if this is the stomach, so you give a drug through this, so in the stomach the acid will be formed. So here it will directly counteract with the acid, neutralize the acid. So its mode of action will be localized. So it will not get absorbed from the stomach across the stomach mucosa. It will not go into the circulation. So it will not go into circulation. Its effect will be localized. It will only neutralize the acid present in the stomach. So produce the antacid action. So antacid is having localized effect given through oral route. So similarly NSAID. See, NSAID or aspirin, when you give it, so it will be absorbed from the stomach mucosa and it will go into the place where the pain or the inflammation is there. It will go there and it will subside the pain or subside the inflammation. So it is a systemic effect. So there are different dosage form that we give it through the oral route. So tablets are there, capsule, spansule, entry coated tablet, syrup, elixir. So what do you mean by spansule, entry coated tablet, elixir? It will be your assignment question. The different dosage forms. So the drug dosage forms, it will be dealt under the practical class. Under practical class, we will be seeing different dosage form. So for time being, so this will be your assignment question. Then what are the advantages of this oral route of drug administration? See, the advantages of oral route of drug administration, I told you it is the safest route, least expensive. See, no separate equipment is required, so no separate things are required. You don't need a needle, you don't need a syringe. The common route of drug administration, and there is no puncture, so you no need to puncture, and you don't require a sterile procedure. You need not wash it with the alcohol, so no sterile procedures required for oral administration. So unless you are giving it through stomach tube or nasogastric tube, it must be sterile, the tubes. So unless those procedures are intervention is there, so sterile procedures need not be required under oral route of administration. Then you can give both solid and liquid dosage form. See, solid form you cannot give it through intravenous route, so you cannot give it through intramuscular route. Solid forms and liquid dosage form can be given through oral route of administration. Then you can use it to treat GIT infection. Since you are giving it through oral route, easily it will treat the GIT infection or helminth infection, which affects the GIT the most. So for localized GIT infection, for helminth infestation, the preferred route will be oral. Then relatively large volume can be given. See, for example, in urea toxicity, you need almost 500 ml to 1 liter of vinegar or 5 to 6 liters of cold water in urea toxicity. Such a large volume, so can we give it through other route? So relatively large volume, you can give it through oral route. Then drug sensitivity or adverse effect are for retractable nature. See, for example, if you have given a X drug, and after giving that X drug, so immediately you are seeing some hypersensitivity or adverse effect out of that drug. So you can easily retrieve that drug out. So how to retrieve that drug out? You induce vomition. You induce vomition or you induce purgation. You induce purgation. So within 2 hours of administration of drug through the oral route, if you induce vomition or if you induce purgation, that drug can be retractable or that drug can be retrieved back, and the adverse effect or toxic effect can be nullified. So that will be the advantages of the oral route of drug administration. So if there are advantages, equally there will be disadvantages. We shall see what are the disadvantages of using the oral route of drug administration. See the disadvantages of using the oral route of drug administration. See, during emergency, if there is emergency condition, can we go for oral route of administration? Definitely not. You cannot go for oral route of administration. The onset of action will be late. So during emergency, you cannot go for oral route. And the bioavailability of the drug given through oral route, it will be less than 100% or 0 to 100%. See, what do you mean by bioavailability? See, bioavailability, it is the amount of drug that reaches the systemic circulation. So it is the amount of drug that reaches the systemic circulation. We call it as the bioavailability. See what will happen in the oral route of drug administration. You are giving it through oral route. So it will go into the stomach. From stomach it might get absorbed, or from the intestine it will get absorbed. So if it get absorbed from the portal vein, first it reaches the liver. So from the liver it will go into the heart. So from the heart it will be pumped into the different parts of the body, right? So here to reach the systemic circulation from the heart to the different parts or to the blood vessel, so it has to pass through intestinal mucosa, stomach mucosa, it has to go through the liver, it has to go to the heart, then it will reach the systemic circulation. So what is the amount of drug that reaches the systemic circulation? You call it as bioavailability. By the time a drug from the GIT reaches the systemic circulation, the amount of drug will be decreased. So there are some metabolism that occurs in the liver, there are some metabolism that occurs in the intestine, so that the amount that reaches the systemic circulation will be less. That is the meaning of the bioavailability. The bioavailability of the drug will be less than 100% or ranges from 0 to 100%. And the third disadvantage is, for an uncooperative, unconscious or vomition patient or wild or zoo animal, difficult to give a drug through the oral route, right? For an uncooperative patient, so very difficult to open its mouth and give. So unlike human beings, very difficult to give the drug through oral route unconscious leads to aspiratory pneumonia. If a patient is suffering from severe vomition, if you give a drug through oral route, the animal will puke, the drug will come out. For wild or zoo animal, they will not hear to what you tell, so they cannot be easily tamed also, unless if you mix it with water or with the feed. Very difficult to give a drug through oral route. And the nature of drug, I told you already. So if a drug is a peptide or if a drug is acid labile, very difficult to give a drug through oral route. If you give it through oral route, it will be destroyed by proteolytic enzyme or it will be destroyed by the acid present in the stomach. And for oral route, in ruminants, it is not preferred. So it is a four-chambered system. So very difficult. The drug has to pass through rumen reticulum omesum, then it will reach the abomasum, then GIT, then it has to be absorbed into systemic circulation. The bioavailability in case of ruminant, if you give a drug through oral route, very difficult. So unless the effect, if you want to see it in the rumen, so very difficult for the other things. For ruminants, it is not a preferred route of administration. Then I told you highly polar drug or water soluble drug, so it will not get absorbed from the GIT. For example, heparin, you don't choose the heparin to be given through oral route due to the highly polar nature of the heparin. Then poor administration technique. If there is a poor administration technique, if you do, for example, insertion of stomach tube or nasogastric tube, if there is poor administration technique, it might lead to aspiratory pneumonia. The drug might end up in the lungs and lead to the aspiratory pneumonia. And the next important disadvantage of oral route of administration is intestinal or hepatic first pass effect. See, what do you mean by first pass effect? Or it is also called by the term pre-systemic metabolism. See, what do you mean by pre-systemic metabolism? I told you, so when you give the drug through oral route, the majority of the drug will be absorbed from the intestine, small intestine. So before it gets absorbed from small intestine and reaches the portal vein, an amount of drug will be metabolized in the intestinal wall. There are enzymes present in the intestinal wall or in the intestinal lumen that will degrade certain amount of drug. Suppose 100 mg of drug is given, that 100 mg reaches the GIT, say 10 mg is metabolized by the intestinal enzyme present in the wall or in the lumen. Then through the portal vein it will reach the liver. So liver, you know, it is the organ of metabolism. So anything that enters the liver, it will get biotransformation or it will undergo metabolism. So likewise 90 mg of drug reaches the liver. So in the liver there are chances that some 25 mg of drug will be metabolized in the liver. So the remaining will be 65 mg. So that 65 mg, it will enter the heart, it will enter the blood circulation. So that's why the bioavailability of a drug is less in oral route of drug administration. Now what is first pass effect? So when you are administering a drug for the first time through the oral route, the metabolism of drug that might occur at the intestine or at the liver, which decreases the bioavailability of a drug, and that phenomenon we call it as first pass effect. And first pass effect, it is a classical feature of the oral route of drug administration. Okay, so there are two types of first pass effect. One is intestinal first pass effect, hepatic first pass effect. See, what do you mean by intestinal first pass effect? See, if the metabolism of the drug for the first time given through oral route occurs at the intestinal level, you call it as intestinal first pass effect. So what do you mean by hepatic first effect? If you administer a drug through oral route for the first time and gets metabolized at the liver, you call that phenomenon as hepatic first pass effect. What are the examples of drugs? See, for example, catecholamines. See, catecholamines, adrenaline, epinephrine or norepinephrine, if you administer through oral route, majority of that catecholamine will get degraded at the intestinal level itself. So that's why you don't administer catecholamine through the oral route due to the intestinal first pass effect. Similarly, the example of drug which undergoes hepatic first effect, the classical examples are propranolol, lidocaine and nitroglycerin. So remember nitroglycerin. See, nitroglycerin, if you give it through oral route, it will enter through the portal vein into the liver, and significant amount of nitroglycerin will be metabolized in the liver when it enters for the first time. So obviously the bioavailability of nitroglycerin will be very less. See, for example, see, nitroglycerin, you have given 100 mg. When it enters the liver, say 75 mg of nitroglycerin will be degraded in the liver. The remaining is 25 mg. 25 mg will reach the systemic circulation. But to produce the effect out of nitroglycerin, what our body require is 50 mg. See, 50 mg is not the body that is getting this nitroglycerin. The only 25 mg is entering the systemic circulation, and it is not producing it will fail to produce the intended effect. Unless it reaches the 50 mg concentration in the systemic circulation, it will not produce intended effect. So that is the reason why the major disadvantage of giving a drug through oral route will be this first pass effect. The first pass effect will become the major disadvantage of a drug to be given through the oral route. Then the next disadvantage of giving through oral route will be GIT mucosa damage or the supra-infection. See, for example, aspirin. So if you are giving any NSAID for a longer term, so it will lead to GIT damage. It will lead to GIT bleeding. Then supra-infection. See, if you are giving antibiotic for a longer time, it will kill the useful GIT microflora. So it might kill the useful GIT microflora, and it might lead to supra-infection. So the bad microflora, it will take the upper end or the dominance, and it might lead to supra-infection. See, another disadvantage will be, see, a drug, it needs to be given in larger dose when you compare it with the parenteral route. See, for example, the normal dosage of an X drug, say if it is 20 mg, if they are giving that drug through intravenous route. If you want to give the same drug through the oral route, its dosage will be 40 mg. Why it is so? So because of this first pass effect. See, the bioavailability in case of oral route will be less. So if you give 20 mg of drug through intravenous route, the amount that reaches the systemic circulation will be 20 mg. So 100% bioavailability will be there in the intravenous route. Whereas in oral route, the bioavailability will range from 0 to 100%. So 0 to less than 100%. So the amount that reaches systemic circulation will be less. That is the reason why the drug given through oral route, obviously it requires to be dosed in the larger side when you compare it with the parenteral route. So for this session, so for this video, I will stop at this stage. So from the next video, we are going to cover the parenteral route, inhalation, and the topical route. So the assignment question, so for time being, the assignment questions, take down the assignment questions. So what is an electuary and poultice? Then define spansul enteri coated tablet, define elixir, so preferred wine, in the next video, and what is first pass effect, and give examples of drug that undergoes first pass effect. So these are the assignment questions for this video. So the other things, it will be covered under the part 2 of route of drug administration. Thank you.